All right, let's dive into the world of F1. You know those preseason tests they just had? Well, an F1 blog is already making some pretty bold predictions for the whole 2025 season based on them. Crazy, right? But
Yeah, those early tests can be super misleading, like a mirage, Especially this early shit. Teams are famous for hiding their true pace and just experimenting.
exactly, total secrecy. But still, there were some pretty interesting things coming out of Bahrain. Like McLaren, everyone's talking about them.
Yeah, it wasn't just the speed, though. I mean, Lando Norris, he was putting in crazy fast laps, but the thing is, he was so consistent, too, and the tire management, amazing.
Yeah.
Lap after lap, he kept that pace even on old tires. Looks like their car is super efficient.
Yeah, so durability.
Yeah.
That's key in a race, right?
Yeah.
Gives them more options.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Strategy-wise, that's gold. But remember last season, they started strong, then kind of fizzled out.
Right. So do you think they have what it takes to actually stay in front this time?
Well, Norris mentioned the car's a bit unstable in the back. If they can fix that, they've got a real shot at the title. But it's all about development, right? Whichever team can keep bringing those upgrades all season, they'll have the edge.
Right. Got to stay ahead of the curve.
Hmm.
Okay, Ferrari now. They've got this whole new front suspension design, but it sounds like they're still figuring it out.
It's radically different from what they had before. Huge potential benefits, supposed to make them faster in corners and better aero overall. But calibrating a system that complex, that takes time.
So they were blazing fast in those single-lap qualifying runs. But then the tires wore down quicker in the longer runs. Does that mean they haven't quite got the new suspension working perfectly yet?
It's tough to say. Pirelli's got new tire compounds this year, too, so that might be part of it. If Ferrari can nail the tire management with this new suspension, watch out. They could be unstoppable.
So lots of potential, but some question marks too.
Yeah.
Now, what about Red Bull? They were strangely quiet during testing. No super fast laps and some rumors about reliability problems. Not their usual style, is it?
There's definitely tension over there. The article I read even hinted at internal criticism. Like they're relying way too much on Verstappen's skill to make up for whatever's wrong with the car.
Can he actually carry them to the top all by himself? He's incredible, but even he can't bend the laws of physics, can he?
He can pull off some insane moves for sure, maybe grab a few wins, but over the whole season, they need a consistently good car. They can't just hope Verstappen performs miracles every single race.
All right, so Red Bull needs more speed if they want to be in the championship fight.
Right.
Let's talk Mercedes. They were kind of, well, typical Mercedes, solid, consistent, but maybe not as crazy fast as Ferrari.
They were under the radar, weren't they? But they do well in the cold, remember? Like their win in Vegas last season, those track temperatures were much lower. So maybe they're just waiting for those cooler races to really show what they can do.
The long game
Yeah.
wouldn't be the first time for Mercedes. But get this, the biggest surprise of the whole testing, it was Williams. Sainz was fastest on one of the days. Can you believe it? Could this be their year to get back in the points regularly?
Sainz's lap was something else. Showed they have the speed. But what really impressed me was their consistency and tire management over those long runs. Not just going for those flashy fast laps, solid times, lap after lap. That means their car's well-balanced and efficient.
Okay, so McLaren maybe rising to the top, Ferrari trying to figure out their new design, Red Bull with some challenges, Mercedes waiting in the wings, and Williams coming out of nowhere. This season is going to be wild.
And we haven't even talked about the midfield yet. That's where things get really crazy.
Oh yeah, let's save that for part two.
It's always a bit of a mess, isn't it? The midfield, I mean, you've got teams with different budgets, different strategies, all fighting for those spots.
Oh, absolutely. And this year, it's super tight. Let's start with Alpine. They had a tough time last year, so what were they working on during testing?
They were really focused on weight reduction. Seems like that was their main thing. Last season, they were carrying way too much weight. Hurt their performance, so they've been slimming down the car. Should make them more agile and help with tire wear.
Lighter and hopefully faster. Okay, Aston Martin now. They always keep things so secret during testing.
Yeah, super secretive. Not showing their hand at all with lap times. But Fernando Alonso did say some interesting things with their tire management. Sounded pretty confident that they can make those tires last, which would be a huge advantage in the races.
Interesting. Could be a dark horse there. Then there's AlphaTauri, putting in some good times consistently, even if they weren't the absolute fastest.
Yeah, they're being methodical. Lots of race simulations, gathering data. Might not have the raw pace of the top teams, but that consistency and reliability could pay off big time on race day.
Smart strategy. What about Haas?
Yeah.
Sounds like they were more focused on race simulations than going for the fastest lap times.
Yeah, they're thinking long term. Trying to understand how the car behaves over a full race distance makes sense for a team like Haas, helps them figure out tire degradation, fuel consumption, all that, and, refine their strategy.
Definitely. And finally, we've got Sauber, the rebranded team starting fresh this season. Sounds like it's going to be a tough climb for them.
It's rough for any new team to get up to speed, especially with these regulations so complex. They had some issues during testing, which is normal. It'll be a while before they can catch up to those more experienced teams.
Well, good luck to them. So we've got McLaren looking strong, Ferrari with that risky new suspension, Red Bull hoping Verstappen can pull it off, Mercedes just waiting for their moment, Williams surprising everyone, and a crazy tight midfield battle.
Yeah.
What does all this mean for the season? What are the big takeaways for our listener here?
I think the main takeaway is this season is going to be full of surprises. The pecking order, it's not even close to being settled. And the development race is going to be insane. The teams that can adapt fast and keep those upgrades coming, they'll have a real edge.
So basically, any predictions from preseason testing, you can throw them out the window. Things could change completely once the races actually start.
Exactly. It's tempting to make those judgments based on testing, but it's just a tiny part of the whole picture. The real test, that starts in Australia.
You know what I think is really cool about all this? It's not just about speed or tech specs. It's about the human element.
Oh, for sure. The drivers, the engineers, the strategists, they all play such a crucial role. That's what makes Formula One so awesome. It's human skill combined with all that incredible technology.
Think about it. These drivers are pushing their cars to the limit, making decisions in a split second, going wheel to wheel at over 200 miles an hour. And then you've got the pit crews, constantly analyzing data, coming up with strategies, pushing the boundaries of what's possible in engineering.
And don't forget the passion, the dedication, the pure guts that drives everyone involved. These people, F1 is their life, it's their everything, and that commitment is what makes this sport so compelling to watch.
It's that human side of it that makes the difference between a good race and a race you'll never forget. Those flashes of brilliance, the strategic moves, the overtakes that have you on the edge of your seat. That's what we live for.
And those moments, they can come from anywhere on the grid. We've seen underdog teams pull off those incredible wins, drivers doing the impossible, and championship fights that go down to the very last lap.
So, for our listener, here's the message. Get ready for an amazing season of F1. It's going to be full of drama, it's going to be exciting, and there are going to be a ton of surprises along the way.
Yeah.
It really does feel like we're about to see some huge changes in F1.
I know, right? This preseason testing has given us way more questions than answers, which I gotta say is pretty exciting for us fans.
Absolutely. And for me, what I love most about F1 is that, well, anything can happen. Seriously. We've seen those teams nobody expects. Suddenly they're on top. Drivers pulling off these unbelievable moves. Championship battles that go right down to the last race of the season.
It's true. It's that unpredictability. It keeps you hooked. You never know what's going to happen next.
Exactly. So to our listener out there, here's the thing. Don't just watch the races, really experience them. Pay attention to those little things, the strategy, the fights in the midfield.
Yeah.
That's where you'll find the real heart of F1.
Yeah, it's like they're playing chess at 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So much more going on than just who crosses the finish line first.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So as we get ready for this new season to start, I want to leave you with one last question to think about.
Okay, hit me.
Do you think McLaren can keep up this momentum they have and actually fight for the championship? Or will another team step up, maybe Ferrari, with their new suspension? What do you think?
It's impossible to say for sure right now. But one thing's certain, it's going to be a wild ride.
And on that note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive into the world of F1. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another exciting exploration of the sport. See ya.